Frequent flyer, fly, la 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 la. Frequent flyer is back.
What's up? You checking out the Frequent Flyer? Welcome back to the channel. Smash the like button to show your support. If you're new to the channel, I'd like to extend the warmest welcome. This here is the Nano TTR from HPi Racing, and it's a 1969 Ford Mustang. And this thing is 1/64th scale. As you guys can see, this thing has really good attention to detail. Looks really awesome. Little ready to run. Comes with this transmitter here. This is actually a full-size transmitter, and it does have a lot of options, but this little car does not have a gyro. I guess for a size comparison, I can compare it to this here. I think I have a Turbo Racing around too. Let me see. Here's the Turbo Racing 1/76 scale. There. Put it next to it. Check it out. So 1/76 scale. This is 1/64th scale. Well, this is a rather large Turbo Racing. This is the normal size Turbo Racing 1/76 scale. So it is a true 1/64th scale car. USB charging. It has these little connectors under there. I don't know what they're for. Maybe some kind of contraption they're going to come up with in the future. But this little car is a really nice car. I like it. It has a pretty decent speed. It's not as fast as the R01, but it is pretty quick. It's faster than, let's say, these cars here. Well, this is a drift car, but this one isn't as fast. It's 1/76 scale, but these two, I guess, since they're both 1/64th scale, I can compare those. This one is faster. The Nano TTR is faster. However, the Nano TTR does not have full suspension like this one does. This one has suspension front and rear. This one only has suspension in the front, but I did do a little mod to this one to give it suspension in the rear. Well, because this doesn't originally have suspension in the rear, it's really unpredictable when you're slamming on the throttle. When you go full throttle with it, there's no curve either. So no throttle curve makes for this thing to get kind of bouncy when you're trying to go full blast with it on a wide open space. It tends to bounce up and down like that, the rear does. And so it makes a hopping sound and loses its tracking and all. It slides around. It doesn't track well when you're trying to go straight. A lot of times it'll veer off because the wheel isn't, it'll spin out because the wheel in the rear, there's no throttle curve. It's just too powerful for the lightness of the car. The car is kind of light feeling. Doesn't feel very heavy. In fact, this one feels a little more substantial, a little more heavier. Then again, this one does have metal wheels and all, metal hardware on this one. But even compared to this one, it feels a little light in the caboose. This little LDARC R02 is, I think this is the R02. Either way, this one is heavier. And so it's a little light. I think it could have benefited from a little more weight on the rear there to help keep these wheels on the rear grounded. And again, it doesn't have any suspension on the rear, so they should have done something to fix that. They could have given us some suspension in the rear. Now, I just put a little sponge in there. Just unscrewed these two screws on the bottom and took the body apart, and I cut out a little square of a sponge and dropped that in there, and then put the rest of the electronics on top of it. And that screw in the rear, I just backed it out a little bit, and so that gives you the suspension in the rear. But it's a pretty nice running car. It does have a pretty decent turn radius, not as good as this one. Again, I'm going to be comparing it a lot to this one. This one is my favorite of all the little tiny cars. And one of the biggest features that this have is the turn radius. It has a really tight turn radius. And so that's one of the things I like about this car. This one does have a pretty decent one, but not as good as the R02. And it's pretty decent. It can get around on my tracks and all. So it does have this transmitter here, pretty decent transmitter. It does have lights, on and off switch on the bottom there. Let me turn it on. The lights do not turn on until you press and hold the power button, which is the button in the middle there. And then you can turn on the lights. It has flashes when you turn it. And then if you go to the middle position, and this little switch on the side, sheesh, I could barely show it. This little switch here on the side, when you go to the middle position, it takes away the signals. And if you go all the way to the front with it, then it turns off the lights. And I don't think it shows the brake light. Oh, it does show the brake lights still, but no rear lights, just brake lights when you stop. And so that's awesome. When you turn on the lights, you have everything working there. You do have rear lights. They're dim, but when you put on brakes, you can see it. And it does have a white light for the reverse light. And also on this transmitter, you have, this is the speed dial. So you can dial the speed down. You can also dial the reverse speed down. I don't know why you would want to do that, but you can dial down the reverse speed. And this here is the turn radius, so you can widen the turns. I don't know why you would want to do that either, because this thing is pretty hard to flip over. Usually that's what that option is for, to help your car stop flipping over. And I know this one flips over a lot, and so adjusting that on the transmitter really helps it out. However, this one is pretty hard to flip over because of its low profile. You can go full speed and not flip this little guy over. It doesn't have that much traction that it's going to flip over, and plus the body is pretty light. I think if it was a little heavy, maybe you would flip over it if the tires were getting a lot of grip, but the tire doesn't get enough grip for it to flip over. And so you have the power button in the middle here, and then around it you have the trims. So you have throttle trims there, and then on the sides you have directional trims, steering trims. You have the reverse switches up there, no gyro. And I'm a big fan of gyros in these little cars. I really think that all of them should come with gyros. Oh, there's a bind button there too, if you want to bind it. Not sure what protocol it's on, so I can't tell you right now if it's multi-protocol transmitter compatible or not, but I can say that it's a pretty decent car. Oh, I forgot to mention that this is rear wheel drive, so only 2-wheel drive. And what else is there that I need to tell you guys? I guess that's it. Yeah, I think that will be all to say about it. It's a pretty decent driving car. I like it. It's somewhere in the middle. Not my absolute favorite, but it's somewhere up there in the middle. The tires do not come off. The tires are glued on, and so no drifting with this. Well, you can get some drifting off because the tires do tend to pick up some dust when you're running it on the floor, and then you can get a little bit of drifting going on, but not too much drifting. It does not come with drift wheels. I think they should have included some optional drift wheels. I have yet to be able to remove the wheels off of this little guy. I'm pretty sure that you can just pull the wheels off, but I have been reluctant to do that because I at least want to do the video of it, the review video, before I go breaking it. But I am going to try to remove those wheels, and I will report back to let you guys know how that turns out. But I just think that would be awesome if they would include some drift wheels with this little guy. I guess the only thing left is to show you guys a running video of it. So let's go check out the running video of this little car. All right, let's look at how well it's able to get around on the track. Can get around. I got the speed turned up, so gotta be gentle. If I try to go too fast, it definitely will hop the little rail that I have. Gotta be gentle on the throttle. Oh. So definitely capable of getting around on my little track at a decent speed. And I like the sound of it. Check it out. This is max everything. As you can see, at full throttle, it's a little uncontrollable, unpredictable, a little unstable when blasting off without the throttle curve. But the turn radius is quite nice. This is the turn radius. Let me make sure it's in frame. That's the turn radius right there. So it's just tight enough to be able to go on my tracks. I think it got a bit of dust on it. Let me wipe it off. Okay, so let's look at it. This is the turn radius there. So pretty tight turn radius. Why isn't it letting me turn to one side? Something's going on with it. I think the tire might be being obstructed by something. What's going on over here? Okay, let's try it. Okay, so that's the turn radius there. Pretty tight. Try the other side. It's not tracking. It's not going to the other side. Okay, there we go. Okay, so go kind of fast. You hear that hopping sound on takeoff. The absence of a throttle curve causes it to do that, and I think some weight on the rear of it would help against that as well. And also the sponge mod kind of eliminates that a little and helps it track straight. See, when I slam on full throttle, it's not tracking straight. Well, that was a pretty straight run there, but for the most part it's unpredictable. Okay, this is reverse. It's at max reverse speed. Check it out. So that's max reverse speed. So let's turn the reverse speed down, and let's turn the forward speed down. Okay, so this is max reverse. Max reverse there. That's max forward speed. so it handles a little better with the speed turned down. And we can change the turn radius to make it wider as well. But of course I like it tight as can be. Check it out. Okay, so let's try my little sponge mod now. See if I can do this behind the camera. Okay, so I just dropped the sponge right there in the rear. There. And let's get this on top. Let me see. I think maybe that's a little. Okay, let's put it right there. There we go. Okay. Let's get this on. Check it out. We got a little bit of suspension going in the back now. Got some front suspension. So let's check it out now. So you guys see it's tracking a lot better. Not as bumpy a ride. Looks like it's moving perfectly straight. Let me turn up the speed. And you can't help with the throttle curve, but it definitely tracks straighter. Check it out. Oh, I think that was due to it slipping on me, all the dust in here. Okay, that wasn't from any bumps. Yeah, nothing you can really do about the throttle curve, but you can. It does help with the bumps on my raggedy floor. My laminate floors, again, are due for repair, so a little more coarse than the average. And it's dusty. But for the most part, you guys can see it's tracking pretty straight. It's the HPi Nano TTR. Pretty awesome little driver here, little car, 1/64 scale. I like it. It turns just tight enough to get around on my little tracks and all. And not a bad transmitter either. Pretty awesome little car here. HPi, if you guys are watching, we could use a throttle curve on this one. So the next iteration, please give us a throttle curve, and a tighter turn radius wouldn't hurt. That'll make it better. And give us some front and rear suspension. The TTR Nano from HPi. Thanks for watching.